In late February 2026, Google acquired Producer AI, formerly Refusion. Now they've rebranded it as flowmusic. Powered by the Lyria 3 Pro model, this update focuses on iterative song creation and advanced composition. Let's dive into the new features flowmusic brings to creators.
Early generative audio often functioned as a zero-shot gamble. Users would input a text prompt and hope for a usable result, surrendering granular control to an algorithmic black box. To address this lack of control, Producer AI is rebranding to Google Flow Music, introducing an operational framework designed for user-led adjustments. This shift focuses on a system architecture that prioritizes deterministic control over the audio, moving away from the constraints of random, one-off generation. The core technical challenge in generative audio is in-painting, altering a specific section of a track without breaking the temporal or harmonic continuity of the surrounding song. Google Flow Music navigates this continuity problem by introducing iterative replace and extend workflows. This diagram illustrates the timeline logic. Users apply natural language prompts to target localized sections of audio. You isolate the exact segment that needs adjustment, dissolve it, and regenerate a new waveform that aligns with the existing track. This targeted prompting bridges the gap between raw AI generation and the precise editing environment of a traditional DAW. Moving from whole track generation to modular, iterative crafting changes how AI functions in production. It acts as a specific tool for refinement rather than a random idea generator. To understand how this precision works, we have to view the platform through the lens of a traditional DAW interface. The extend capability functions as agent-directed temporal outpainting. Looking at this waveform model, we start with a segment labeled Lo-Fi Piano Intro. A user grabs the edge and drags it out, extending the temporal space. You then apply a text prompt, like massive dubstep drop, to this new space to force a stylistic shift. The system's underlying logic locks in the harmonic foundation of the preceding lo-fi intro, while rendering the different frequency range required for a dubstep drop. Computationally extending an existing motif with a sharp stylistic pivot requires significant context awareness. The AI must reference the preceding audio to ensure the new drop aligns with the track's key and tempo. Producers also need to test multiple ideas for a single instrument without overwriting the mix they've already built. The computational risk is that requesting variations can often cause an AI to lose the structural context of the surrounding song. Consider a common studio scenario, trying to craft the perfect guitar solo. This diagram demonstrates the variation capability. A user highlights a waveform block and commands the system to render 5 parallel takes. Notice how rigid vertical boundaries bracket the fanned-out blocks. They ensure the variations remain strictly contained and don't bleed into adjacent sections. The user can quickly audit these 5 parallel takes, comparing them back-to-back to select the optimal performance. The architecture enabling this strict containment is called localized semantic conditioning. This conditioning restricts the AI's generation exclusively to the isolated track. It acts as a safeguard, preventing the model from making changes to the rest of the composition. In older systems, producers often had to re-roll entire multi-track compositions just to fix a single out-of-key instrument. By executing parallel localized generation, the producer moves from a passive role to an active curator of the specific takes the system provides. The final editing feature is targeted multi-instance replacement. This structural mapping displays an intro, verse, chorus, arrangement. Using natural language, a producer commands the system to replace multiple non-consecutive choruses simultaneously. A single prompt maps to multiple temporal locations, causing the waveforms within those blocks to swap out in tandem. Crucially, the system's preservation logic protects the surrounding verse blocks, ensuring they remain untouched during the multi-chorus overwrite. Removing the friction of manual block-by-block editing accelerates the production process, allowing users to stay within a creative flow state. The ability to sync non-consecutive blocks to a single prompt requires the system to maintain a consistent audio identity across disparate timestamps, managing the track's global structure rather than just isolated fragments. These interface controls rely on the underlying compute infrastructure. Audio in-painting and parallel generation are heavy operations. Rendering them in real time requires immense, sustained computational bandwidth. Standalone, specialized AI audio tools often struggle to subsidize these massive server costs solely through their own user base. Google's strategy addresses this bottleneck by integrating FlowMusic's capabilities into the pre-existing Google AI subscription ecosystem. Bundling specialized generative tools into macro AI plans is a strategy for scaling high-compute creative features to a mass audience. Producer AI capabilities are now included in Google AI Plus, Pro, and Ultra plans at no additional cost. This matrix charts tier access. On the left, Google AI plans. On the right, equivalent Producer AI tiers. Baseline Free remains free. AI Plus unlocks the starter tier. AI Pro unlocks the Plus tier. And AI Ultra unlocks the Member tier. Users can access these bundled tools immediately at the flowmusic.google portal. Scaling these features depends on the direct link between deterministic software tools and an infrastructure built to handle the resulting computational load.
Ready to build? Head to flowmusic.app to start creating tracks and music videos. For the best results, I recommend building a custom Gemini gem to help refine your prompts. It's an addictive process, so get in there and start creating.